with like a few ranked games where, especially when I'm playing support, I'm having trouble like kind of getting the impact that I need to win the game. Um, so I guess I can explain. But this one I'm sending is actually off lane, and I know there's certain things I could do to improve it, but
Okay.
um
Um, so the first thing that we want to look at is the Weaver pick itself. Um, you sixth picked it, meaning you were third on your team. Um,
mhm.
and you knew that they had a alchemist, sniper, and bristleback. Um, I don't like the Weaver pick
Okay.
in this situation. Cause what if they had like a alchemist safe lane, and then like I guess a shadow shaman. I guess you guys had a shadow shaman, so I guess that doesn't work. But they could have, if they picked lockdown. Um,
Hmm.
Weaver's very easy to zone out of the lane if played correctly, and they didn't have their supports picked yet. Like they could have ran alchemist safe lane, sniper mid, bristle off lane, and then picked up their two supports, and it could have been like a um, Kunkka and Earth Spirit or some shit.
Hmm.
And then you just
Actually, one question: did you want to do video share?
oh yeah
Because
yeah
right now, or
um,
on the,
gotcha.
so I might have to hang up or whatever. But
No, if you check the Skype, you should be able
oh,
to
there we
see it
go.
now.
Okay,
I
good.
just had to turn it on. But if they have the Alchemist safe lane, Bristleback off lane, and then the Sniper mid. They still have
Yeah,
their two supports, and if they pick supports that lock you down well, you're just gonna die, and
yeah.
then you're gonna die again, and then again, and it's just the Weaver's a very risky off laner that can
Mhm.
get punished really hard, and you don't want to pick him until you see that they have two supports that don't deal well with you, like
Right.
maybe a Bane. If they have some stupid shit like Bane and Shadow Demon, where they have lockdown, but it just sets up for each other, and like if you're getting slept into disrupt, you don't really fucking care at all.
Yeah.
Um, and then they have some shit like I don't know, Juggernaut as their damage. You can just there's nothing that they can do that stops you from unless they like catch you with a sleep while you're Sakuchi'd. Um, but if they have something like that, you can really get away with the Weaver, especially if they have a melee carry that you can harass a lot. Um, but you could have very well just got counterpicked, and then your lane would have been over before it even started.
Mhm.
Um, was it the hero of the day?
No, it wasn't a random, or not a, yeah, it wasn't a star hero either.
Okay. I would have probably finished my wand first, and you can pick up your ring of protection at the secret shop.
Okay. I
Only
always
reason,
forget what's in there now.
yeah, it's. I did a lesson like 2 days ago, and I was like, yeah, you can just pick up your Oracle Venom at the side shop instead of
Oh,
whatever. And I guess it's
yeah.
not there anymore, but I know Ring of
Yeah.
Protection is because
Uh-huh.
Urn of Shadows. It's the only. It's I always build the raindrop, the circlet, and the recipe, and then I get the Ring of Protection at the side shop.
Mm.
Um, but if you're not rushing the, I think you
The
should have
wand.
probably
Yeah.
yeah the wand would have been pretty good. At least it's going to be better than a Ring of Protection. Um, like it just the early armor doesn't or two armor doesn't do too much. Um, and having all of that region's a good bit more important. Here you could have. I usually don't mind if you use Sakuchi to secure a last hit. I think that's
Okay.
worth it, especially if you're full mana anyways. Like you haven't used a single. I don't think you've used a single spell
No,
this
I
entire
haven't.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you used like if there was the first wave, and you could have secured a last hit that you um, if you could have secured a last hit that you weren't going to get without Sakuchi, by now you would have got the mana back.
Okay.
So essentially, it would have been free. The only thing that you have to watch for with that is this when this is on cooldown, you're vulnerable, but because of their lineup, you're not really like even without Sakuchi. How do they kill you?
Yeah.
They just like don't. So I wouldn't have mind you using Sakuchi more aggressively so far. Um, you have your Bassi on, which is not good.
Yeah. I think I don't know why I had it on this whole time. I usually am more careful than that, but yeah, I can see it. And I think when I turned it into the Ring of Akil, I just had it off. I don't know why I kept it on this whole time.
Okay. Um, it's not too bad because he's acid spraying the lane.
Yeah, he's pushing it out a lot.
But yeah, the lane's kind of like this is about the best you're gonna have as a lane, and you're not really harassing him a lot. Like you're great at harassing. You do 70 or almost 75 damage a hit, and you have double attack. So I'd be kind of like trying to use this on the Alchemist whenever I can. And here you could have played this a lot better.
Okay.
You kind of AFK'd over here, which is, I guess, not too big of a deal. I would have waited for him to come get this last hit, and then attacked him, and then used the bugs, and then swarm to reposition better, and then attack him again, and he's dead. And then, like here, you take all of this extra damage that you didn't need to. Like, you probably could have been fine with just using a Tango after, but you have to use a Salve also.
Yeah.
I don't like you going the Belt of Strength first. It doesn't actually do anything. Aside from when you initially get it, you get 100 more health, but that doesn't do much of anything. I would have rather seen you get, like, the boots or the gloves, because the gloves, like, there's going to be a situation probably where if you have the extra attack speed, you get a deny and a last hit instead of just a last hit. The boots could mean that you don't have to use your Sakuchi to escape. But the belt's just kind of like, okay, I have an extra Tango worth of health for the next 3 minutes instead of the next, like, minute and a half. Weaver's also one of those heroes that you can just completely skip boots on if you want to, depending on your build. So I'll have to see how you actually end up building before I comment on it. If you're not going a lot of regen, the boots are good, but if you are going a lot of regen, mana regeneration, I mean, if you are going a lot of mana regen, you can just spam your Sakuchi for movement speed. And if you're spamming this off cooldown because you have the mana regen for it, you're only actually using your boots a third of the time, if that makes any sense.
I see.
The duration is 4, so the downtime is only 33%. You complete the Sakuchi was bad there, and I think it's probably like you understand it just from seeing it. You should have.
I didn't.
You should have ran.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, you should have ran just outside of the tower range, so you hit him, and then you reposition to keep attacking, and you don't take tower damage unnecessarily. Also, this whole time you're on strength treads. It depends on how proficient you are with tread switching, but that was if you had agility treads there, you probably kill him, like, you probably would have killed him if you had agi treads the whole time. Probably right here, he would have been dead. instead of doing all this extra shit and your silencer having to tank this. He barely lives. If he would have died there, it would have actually been the fault of not going to agility treads there.
Okay.
And that's just kind of like that's one of those rare situations where it's like, if he turns to attack me, he's dead. And that's when you want to be on agility treads when you're fighting. When the only thing that, like, the situation where if they do anything that damages you, you win the fight anyways. That's when agility treads are good. Like, if that alchemist turned on you there, he was even more dead than he already was. And that's kind of like how you can tell if agility treads are good or not. I would be careful with spamming out your Q because he gets, I think
he
they're
gets
like,
more.
yeah, they're like 20 gold each,
And
but if he gets
agreeables.
like, yeah, he gets like 50 gold from each of them, depending on what his stacks are at. And then you're going Lincolns here, so I don't really like your treads first, because if you got Perseverance, or Perseverance, or whatever the hell it's called, it'd be the same cost as your treads almost, but it would have essentially given you more movement speed, because you can spam this. Yeah, you can spam this, you can cast it every 12 seconds, and you're not losing any mana. You have to, for it to meet the threshold of being able to spam this without losing mana, it's 10 mana per second, and you're at 5 right now, so you can half spam it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And mana break's good. You should be trying to abuse this more, especially with your mana break. Your Germinate attack. I'd be trying to use that on him. Like, I'd be attacking him and then attack him with the Germinate, and then Sakuchi through him and the creep. So you hit him twice with the mana break. He loses 40 mana, he takes like 200 damage, and then you also hit him with the Sakuchi, so he takes like 300 damage. And you get the last hit still, and all it cost you was 60 mana.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
how that would have like destroyed this guy here. And then if you do that every time this is like up, right now he would have been out of mana, like probably here, if you were abusing that the whole time that you could. Which means you take a lot less damage. He wouldn't even be doing this shit because he would have been half health after you did it twice, and he'd be almost out of mana. I'd be getting that Arcane Rune.
Oh.
Because then you can spam your Sakuchi. The fuck? Then you use your salve when he has his poison on you.
Oh.
Feels bad. But yeah, do you see how Perseverance, or whatever the fuck it is,
yeah,
it provides you with so much more than your treads do.
Yeah, I'm basically at full mana the whole time. I'm noticing it now.
Yeah. And it's like you're not really using movement speed. You're not really using the stats. You're not using the attack speed so much. So it's kind of like 1.5k of gold that doesn't do anything, or you can get this sooner and never have to worry about regen again, basically. So you can play more aggressively by having stats consistently, or health and mana consistently, than by having the extra stats of your treads. But that's only if you're going Lincolns. If you like, I think the treads would have been fine if you're like going a diffusal blade next or something.
I am,
but
yeah.
If you're going mana regen anyways, it's usually just I'd rather stick with the mana regen and get to the point where I can spam Sakuchi and not have to spend 1,500 gold on boots that don't really provide me too much actual movement speed. Should have pinged out that I guess nobody was gonna get it.
Oh yeah, I guess I don't ping it out as much as I use my like I talk a lot with my headset.
Well, if you're saying it in game, that's just as good too.
The one issue I was having here is just like um convincing I definitely could have played better, but the one issue I was having is convincing my silencer not to use his silence until the black hole was cast.
I gotcha.
Um, and those are the two times I died. Is when there was when the silencer decides he wants to cast silence whenever the alchemist pops up out of nowhere,
Yeah,
and then um, the black
because
hole is still available.
that's actually the only way you die. They don't have any other
Yeah,
disable for you.
no,
I don't think Lincoln's is actually really that good this game though.
it isn't. I guess like I kind of see the mistake here of getting it, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think going your diffusal blade first, and then like destroy. You melt people when you have a diffusal. Another little mistake is Weaver's really good with just a blight stone. Um,
Okay.
so just like casually picking one up, you can think of it as like a quelling blade, sort of. But like all of your farm speed when you're not going a mana regen build is based off of your physical damage because this is also physical.
Hmm.
But it also like helps destroy enemy heroes, of course, and towers. So it's for 300 gold. It does a lot of work on your hero. So I think the main changes here would have been um, not going Lincoln's, going the diffusal blade early, getting a early blight stone too.
Hmm.
Um, maybe even a medallion would have been good because that helps a little bit with your mana regen. Not as much as a fucking Lincoln's, but um, it does help a lot. Or if you're going Desolator, that's fine too. But yeah, now you're at the point where mana doesn't mean anything to you. So,
Yeah.
like, your boots don't mean anything. You're getting a third of the value out of boots as any other hero in the game would. And it's kind of like if you're a hero that goes max 550 movement speed 2/3 of the game, and then you go one movement speed the rest of the game,
Hmm.
um, and then you go from one movement speed to 51 movement speed, that still doesn't like actually help your movement speed over the grand scheme of things, and it's even less impactful the higher you go. Like you're already about as mobile as you can be just by having this spell. So adding boots on top of it doesn't make you too much more mobile. I don't really like the Scotty.
Hmm.
Um, I guess the logic on it would be
They just have a lot of like I just get like because of all the cool spray and the radiance burn things like that. I'm trying to go in. I just need a little bit more HP more than anything, and I didn't want to build hard.
yeah, I
um,
got you. Um, I think still Desolator would have been better.
okay.
And play more of a I'm gonna go in, use my Gemnate, get my swarm off, and then go out, and then go back in, rather than trying to survive. Because
Hmm.
the Scotty, at least uh, what I was thinking was you're trying to survive the black hole, and it's kind of like you're gonna have a hard time doing that if they're focusing you correctly.
Yeah.
Um, with or without a Scotty, and it's just kind of like play against it rather than, or play around it as opposed to build around it. Um, DD, you should go destroy somebody. I think you should have wrapped around here first instead of showing. If you wrapped around here without giving them any vision, you might have like been able to catch one out, like farming a camp or some shit. I like how the empty space is sleeping. See the Z's?
Yeah. It's a replay bug, I guess.
Stupid fucking game.
This is where we had a big loss. So he cast his silence first. I told him, why'd you cast your silence? And I'm like, oh shit.
You should have. Yeah, that was the thing with that is like you just like can't really do anything about your teammates. I would have been like, silencer, can you try and be like, oh cool, we have a silencer that completely shits on Enigma, just make sure you don't get a black hole. And then I wouldn't have like said anything the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have like big egos that play Dota, and it's kind of like if you tell them to do something, they're gonna intentionally not do it. Like even I've had a lot of times where I'm like, somebody like BKB is the right item, and then my teammate tells me to get a BKB, and then I'm like, all right, well I guess we're gonna just try and fucking play it with a Manta instead now, just like in spite of them. But right here, you should have definitely time lapsed because. Yeah, you're not gonna like die or anything, but you're also not gonna be able to do much at 800 health when they have a Radiance and Quill, and you would have went back to full health. If you did it here.
They have 2 blade mails.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just have to like get back, and then I got caught at the end of the black hole there. I thought I was far enough away from all of it, but oh well.
Do you have any questions so far?
No, I understand. Like, I guess, like, there's still a lot of efficient. Like, I've been on strength threads this whole time. But
well, when you have like unlimited mana, the int treads don't matter. The agility treads would have been what you want to go to, but it's not like the biggest deal. I think the strength treads actually would have been better if. When the black hole is up, I think it's better for you to just casually be running around on strength treads, even if you're farming, because if the Enigma blinks on you, it's kind of like the chances of you just getting like blink and black hole from fog and strength treads saving you it's low, but it's high enough that it's more efficient than like killing things a little bit quicker with agi treads. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know if this was the right strategy. I kept telling my team to kind of like stay in other lanes because it just didn't make sense for all of us to be in the same lane all the time. And yeah. That was another instance where the black hole was cast. But I think that time Silencer was caught in it.
I think that was a wrong call because look at their late game and look at yours.
Yeah.
And by splitting, you're trying to secure the late game more. Whereas if you group up, if you grouped early, they wouldn't be able to do that much because Silencer and Alchemist are useless early. The Viper and the Bristleback are really strong. Early, but and then the Enigma, if he gets silenced, is also useless. So they have, in theory, they should have 3 useless heroes early game, and then Bristleback just gets super fucking annoying, and then with Quill Spray and Radiance in the late game, you're gonna have a hard time no matter what you do.
Right.
So I think you should have snowballed off of the Diffusal Blade and tried to end the game with that rather than prolonging the game. Or if not end the game, at least put yourself in such a strong spot that you can farm for a few more minutes and then get another item and end the game with that.
Okay, and this is basically where the game ends. The
But yeah,
Ursa disconnects and doesn't come back. So,
I.
you know.
So did you have any other questions about this game?
No, but I guess so. Um, what would you summarize as like the biggest issue in
Um,
terms of I see a lot of things like I Weaver wasn't the best pick. My a lot of times, I shouldn't have. Maybe Lincoln's my itemization is a little weird.
yeah.
I don't really need the Lincolns. Agi treads, and then also I guess I should have taken advantage of the fact that I did. I think I did okay in lane, uh, and I could have just like tried snowballing with that instead of like continuously farming and trying to get.
I think one of the
Uh,
biggest mistakes that we didn't really point out too much
hmm
was you weren't aggressive enough in lane.
Yeah.
Um, Alchemist, I think he has like 2 starting armor or some shit.
Mm.
Um, so you could have poked the hell out of him when you started to get ahead. Like you aren't so much stronger than him at level 1. Yeah, he has 2 starting armor. Um,
Uh-huh.
you aren't so much stronger than him at level 1, but at level like 3 or 4 or 5, when the lane's been uncontested, you could easily harass him a lot with getting a lot like what I described with the bristleback, where he's going up for a last hit or deny, and you hit him with a Geminate, and then you Sakuchi through the creep and him, and you do
hmm
like 250, 300 damage with a 60 mana cost spell. And I don't think I saw you harass him like at all the
Yeah.
entire game.
Yeah.
Um, so you picked a hero that could have been punished really hard, and you weren't punished, and then you didn't capitalize on them not punishing you. So the way that you like a 6K would have played this lane would be the Alchemist would have got shit on. You probably got about the same amount of farm as a 6K player would have, but the Alchemist against a 6K would have got like half of what he did.
Right.
So I
Okay.
think
Yeah,
that's
I think
probably
it's a big problem with my like play style in general. I tend to be a lot more passive.
yeah.
Weavers might not be the hero to be passive with, I
Yeah.
guess. But I
Weaver,
mostly
Enchantress,
yeah,
Windrunner, those are all like heroes that you want to be as aggressive as you can be. And it's kind
right,
of like hard to find, or it can be hard to find when you need to be aggressive, but it's like also kind of clear. Like you just hit a in the early game you're not supposed to be too aggressive, and then you hit a threshold, and then you can be super aggressive. Um, like this guy's at half health right now. He has a salve left. If you play aggressive on him, he's just not gonna be able to do anything. Um,
okay,
so if you watch from like his perspective, and then think, okay, I have like 1 thing of regen left. Hopefully this fucking Weaver doesn't play aggressive against me, right? Like, oh shit, now I'm almost dead. Um, I'm gonna pop the salve, and then if he keeps harassing me, I'm gonna have to buy more regen.
hmm
Or hopefully this Weaver doesn't do anything until I get level 6, so I can just spam my Chemical Rage. And
right,
then you watch through it, and you're like, okay, good, this Weaver's not being aggressive. They're not punishing me for being a safe lane alchemist with no supports and no regen. And then you guys get a kill here, but the kill would, or you get it next time, I think.
yeah, next
Um,
time,
But if you were more aggressive, it wouldn't have cost you as much to get it, and then
yeah.
you could have
I guess with
like
this one I was also, but the alchem not the the Enigma, he's not that the Malefice I guess doesn't mess me up that much because I have Sakushi,
yeah,
but
you're invis, and I'm sure the Enigma is not going to buy a dust to gank you.
yeah,
Um, but now this guy's level 6. You guys have only killed him once. He has 31 last hits at 7 minutes in the game, which is not the greatest, but it's like it's more than he should have. He should probably be like level 5 at this point,
hmm
with like 20 last hits if you were properly aggressive, and then maybe died like one more time or had to buy a lot more regen, and you would have delayed his radiance by like 4 or 5 minutes, which delays his next item by like 5 or 6 minutes, and then he's just useless for the rest of the game. Um, yeah. So, do you have any other questions about the replay?
no, not about this one.
I mean, so, what was the other one you wanted to get into?
So the other one is I guess a support game. I kind of know the mistakes I made with this one, but also just like trying to see how I can. I know I can get a little bit more impact with just more efficiency and things like that and better laning, but maybe there's more you could show me. So,
Which one was that?
uh, 1 second, let me actually find the game.
Sure.
Just need to get the let's see here. 377. I don't like how I can't copy and paste the match ID.
Can you not?
It's no. Oh, there we go. Actually, I guess I can. Oops.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that you can
There
like
you go.
copy and paste off of Dota, so it's not very intuitive. Okay, there we go.
There were definitely a lot of mistakes I made early in this game. I recognize that. Um, and yeah,
I
I
think
can.
one thing that we can point out already is if you're not getting your mana boots until 20 minutes, you kind of want to be starting to get something else instead.
Okay.
If you're a witch doctor, um, like if there's some supports that need mana boots, and witch doctor's not one of those. So I think when the game is showing that it's going to be really hard, maybe get a cloak at like 14 minutes instead of
Okay.
mana boots at 20 minutes, and that might help you a lot because fuck
Okay.
ton of magic damage, fuck ton of magic damage, magic damage, magic damage, magic damage. And you might actually end up getting your mana boots sooner because you don't die because you're resisting a lot of the damage they do. And then you're one of those heroes like Alchemist where if you survive a second longer, you might survive 3 seconds longer because you have the healing regen.
Yeah.
I don't like that you skilled this so early.
The
If you had,
Maledict.
yeah, if you had, do you kill her? You do, but if you had,
The
if you had,
cask.
yeah, if you had stun right here,
Hmm.
it would have hit her, hit him, hit her, and she would have been just as dead. But this is like a better spell to have in a lot more situations than this one is. Because this is like, it's good when other things are going to happen, but it's not when they aren't. And then this is good when they are or aren't going to happen. Like, this requires you to keep attacking somebody.
Hmm.
And this can be either a stun to run away, a stun to attack, a stun to cancel TP, or just harass on its own. It can be a lot more things than Maledict.
I always underestimate the Kunkka splash damage too. Something that's very annoying right now.
Yeah. Here, when you know that your PA isn't going to be getting a last hit, there's no reason for you not to get that.
Oh, okay.
It's fine to take last hits as long as it's not at the cost of your carry. Um, I'd probably be, with this time, I would have probably been, like, scouting over here.
Hmm.
Because maybe you can, like, catch the Lena in a spot that she doesn't want to be in. Like, if you catch her right here, and your PA can, like, I'd rather have him have this, but, like, if she's over here and he can dagger her, and you maledict before the Kunkka can show up, maybe you harass the shit out of her or kill her or whatever it is. But if you're over here, you can see opportunities. But if you're just sitting back here or back here, you don't see any opportunities. I don't really like the Windlace. It's not gonna do much. The difference between Windlace and Boots is Boots cost more, but they're more gold efficient because it's 10 gold per movement speed, and Windlace is 12 and a half per movement
Uh-huh.
speed, which.
That's Stelina's Windlace.
Oh, okay. So I don't like her Windlace. I thought you got one. Okay.
No.
Good call. Um, I don't really like you also getting the Tingos. I would have rather seen you just wait until level 3, skill this up,
Hmm.
and then use your clarities as regen for you in the PA.
Okay.
Because that's. What is that? What's the efficiency on that? I think it's even more efficient for just yourself to heal up off of clarities, and you can heal up your PA instead of getting Tingos, but I'd have to do the math, and it's not really like that big of a deal. Um, I don't like that you're going for this before your boots.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like they're not going to be casting enough spells for it to be amazing. Like, she can cast, what is that, 5 spells before she's out of mana. This guy's going to cast like 3 or 4. But with boots, it's kind of like they're always going to be helpful. And the times that you want to upgrade to wand is when the game's going to be hard and you're going to hold on to it for longer. And
Hmm.
one of the pros of picking it up when you're having a hard game is you can buy it out when you die. So instead of having 74 death cost, you can buy out like your branches and your mango and stuff, and spend 200 gold and lose 0 gold instead of losing 70 gold for no reason. And by going wand first, you lose the option of doing that. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And the pros of getting wand in a lane as opposed to stick is if you're taking consistent damage. Like right now, if you have it upgraded, you're not using the whole 1.5 health regen part of it.
Yeah.
Feels bad.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
no, I guess I was like, I know like every 2 minutes she's obviously gonna go for the rune, and then I was like, I'll try pulling at the same time, and I guess I couldn't do two things at the same time there.
well, the
Um,
part of it was you stunned before the minute mark.
yeah.
Like you stunned at 57, whereas if you waited until 59, you would have possibly got the bounty rune. Like you were trying to delay her from getting there when you could have just made it impossible for her to get it anyways, which is the
Mhm.
better play. And then you got a second point in this, which I don't like. Like if you had your heal here, the fight would have been completely different. Like if
Mhm.
you were running your heal right now. And this doesn't get that much better. Like, it's a great spell, but it's like this is also a great spell. And you not having it at level 4 means you're not going to have it until level 8. And the power of it is 8 health regen, or 16 health regen per second AoE at 3 minutes in the game is a lot stronger than at 10 minutes in the game.
Okay.
Actually, you'd get it more like at 15 minutes in the game. You're level 8. But yeah, you kind of lost the safe lane. I think a lot of it was you weren't like sitting around here when the creep wave was over here, so you weren't looking for kills, and that's a really hard thing to teach because it requires you to position in such a way that she can't really get a stun on you,
Hmm.
which is hard to word how to do. I guess it's kind of like run around here, and she's not going to be like sitting right here, and even if she does, all she's going to get at most is like a stun and a nuke, which isn't that great. And then you maledict her you eat a tango and you right click battle her, and your PA is probably gonna come over and try and help, and then their Kunkka is gonna try and come over and help, and you save your coconut until the Kunkka shows up,
Hmm.
because you don't really want to be thrown out this just for one bounce, because it's 3 to 5 times better if they're both separate. But by doing stuff like this, you open up opportunities. And when you just sit over here, you're kind of like allowing them to dictate what the lane is going to be like. And if you got your heal, you would have won like every single battle with her. Because you pop that at the start, you eat a Tango, you have like 25 health regen. Feels bad. You got the fortify. Never mind. But yeah, you're getting too many points of this.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's the best way. I don't know. Teaching position 5 is kind of hard because it's a lot of making the correct small decisions and putting yourself in a situation where you can make those. So like you not having your heal and not playing more over here makes it so the game is completely different than it should be. So we can't really like go over it too much more.
Okay.
Did you have another replay?
Yeah, another Witch Doctor game, I guess. And I pretty much always go with this skill build for the most part.
Gotcha.
I always thought right now Maledict was kind of the meta pick, in terms of just like, it's a very strong spell right now.
Well,
Um,
it's strong, but it's like,
it's still, understand that I shouldn't just kind of do cookie cutter
well,
builds, but
it's heal makes you win the lane really hard.
okay.
Like if I 1v1 this, fuck, I hate this shit. If I 1v1 somebody and I have heal, it's
Mhm.
like they're gonna get shit on most of the time. Just because this does like so much work. Whereas like, if we refresh, I'll get
I sent you
level 2.
another one.
Yeah. And then I'll try it with Maledict and the bonus stats. Like with this, I'm committed to a fight to the death.
Yeah.
Whereas with heal, I can just like back off and like poke and shit. And like this barely is even to the heal when I'm an extra level higher with more stats, more health, all that. And this heals my teammates, and it's kind of like you can use this aggressively or defensively, whereas you can only use this aggressively.
Right.
So I think I like this spell a lot more.
Yeah, but so just forewarning is that it's gonna be the same build essentially.
Yeah.
Um, I
Also,
usually do heal much later.
yeah. One of the things that I really like about Witch Doctor is his ability to stop tower dives.
Okay.
Because if you usually when somebody's tower diving somebody else, it's a 2v1 situation, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a Witch Doctor and your build is like you're level 5, you have 3 points in stun, 1 point in heal, 1 point in maledict. You can not only stun them under tower and do most of Maledict's damage, but you can also heal them, your teammate, while they're running away, and maybe like heal them up 100 health, which saves their life. So your ability to do that is a lot better with 1 point in heal and 1 point in Maledict than 2 points in Maledict.
Okay.
I would have given the PA one of your tangos.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that you want to do that early is because if he gets like shit on in lane more, you can give him another tango without it being on cooldown. And it's kind of like just understanding that, like, you would agree that if they cast all of their spells on you in lane, that's better than them casting all of their spells on your carry in lane, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you have to back, you don't really lose anything out of the lane. But if your carry has to back, then you're putting gold on a support instead of a carry. So the same thing is true with your tangos. Like, yeah, it sucks you have to give away your tangos for a mistake that you didn't make, but it's like, or your PA can go back to base and you're like taking farm that you'd rather have on your carry.
Right.
Like maybe if you gave him a tango, he would have ate it. XD.
Yeah, I guess having Cask would have saved him at this part.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
He got
he's
unlucky, some unlucky spins there too. He's basically dead.
He's pretty fucked no matter what, but also, like, this does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Without any follow-up. Like, this, I don't know how much it does. I think it ticks like 3 or 4 times, meaning it does like 28 damage on its own, whereas this can do 150 at level 1. So I think Cask is like even a better nuke at level 1, plus it has all of the like, you want your stun at level 2 no matter what, almost always.
Yeah. I tend to get that.
Yeah, so Maledict, like, it's very rare that Maledict is going to do the same damage as Cask or more. And then in those situations, it has to do a lot more because Cask also follows up with a stun, which means you can right-click more. And then it also has the ability to be used defensively. And then on top of that, if you have to get heal at level 2, you're able to get heal at level 2. Whereas if you go Maledict first, you kind of can't really go this until level 3. And even then, you'd rather have a second point in this.
And Cask, yeah, okay.
So going Maledict kind of like, I'm sure there's like a 2 or 3% chance that it's like better, but only slightly. In certain games. So I think it's just a lot safer and more consistent to start with your Q. And then here, I think you should have chased this guy. I think you should have chased him and your PA should have went back. Because it's like, what else are you going to be doing in lane? Like, your job is to secure your carry as much as possible and hurt the enemy offlaner as much as possible. So it's like, why are you giving up on the chase?
Oh, I guess I didn't know where the Sand King was. But I remember saying that. But I just I guess I could have kept going. Honestly, I see it.
Yeah, I
Sand
mean,
King wasn't actually there.
Even if he was, like, he's not gonna stop you from just running away. And like, let's say he's like right here, and he like stuns both of you. And it's like R8. That's fine. If he tries to fight you guys, this creep wave is gonna show up in a few seconds when this guy dies, and then it's gonna be a 2v1 with a whole creep wave.
Okay.
So if I were you, I would have like wrapped up here into the jungle here, and then been like, all right, well he's not here, and then we have wards here, so he either TP'd out or he's down here, and then I would have went and checked, and then you would have got a free kill on this guy while he's tangoing up. But now he's got an extra like 100, 200 health because he's been eating tangos. And like here, you could be, if you had your voodoo, you could be healing up. I think this is a good spell, but these two are just like, when Maledict is better, it's only slightly better, right?
Okay.
And then when Maledict is worse, it's like useless. Like if they're diving you, you don't really want to turn to Maledict them. But if you're going aggressive, this allows you to go more aggressive. If you're being defensive, this allows you to be defensive better. But this only works aggressively, unless they're like tower diving or some shit. And you can like stun and then set up with it, but and you're going for another set of regen because you don't have this, so it's like 9 gold that you don't really need to spend. And I think one thing is you're not right-clicking enough. Like, they have 2 melees, and you're just like not abusing the fact that you're ranged. And that's why most supports that are babysitters are ranged heroes. It's just a CM versus a who's a treant protector, or a Doom. Let's say a CM versus a Doom. Like a Doom destroys the CM. But if the Doom is never in melee range, the CM wins. So it's, you can be weak as shit, but if you have the range advantage, you win every trade if you do it correctly.
Okay.
So you need to be abusing that fact as Witch Doctor. And he has a pretty good right click.
Yeah, base damage.
But yeah, the only like damage that you're doing to them is like full on trades, when you could just be like trying to poke them for 100 damage here, 100 damage there. And that's like how you win the lane, is small trades consistently that are massively in your favor. Like right here, what's stopping you from walking right here and throwing a shot at him from the fog?
Right.
Except for, you have to be careful of the Sand King being there, but if they like try and dive you, you always have your cask to save you. And that's one of the really strong things about Witch Doctors. If they have a dual lane and they go on you, they're basically just separating themselves from the creep wave, allowing you to get a full cask off on both of them. But yeah, like here, you got your Maledict off. Whoop-de-fucking-do. The axe took like no damage from it, even though it's level 3. The skeleton, or the Sand King, does this show how much damage you... That sucks. I
Yeah,
wish
does it
that...
show the individual ones?
Yeah, that would have been really nice. Fucking Gaben, get on it. Another thing that I would consider is if you don't see your position 4 going Urn. I think Urn's one of the most broken items right now.
Okay.
Especially if you're not going the any points in this. And the thing with Voodoo Restoration is 1 point in it is good enough.
Okay.
And it's sometimes better to just have 1 point in it, because the the healing per mana stays the same at all levels. It just does it faster, but the activation cost goes up. So, for the same amount of mana, it's always better to have the lower level one because of the activation cost.
Right.
So if you, this is just, it's more efficient, the lower levels. So just like keeping it at level 1 is great. And I wouldn't really put another point into it unless like they're diving super heavy and you think the extra, what is that, 8 health per second will make a difference on them diving you and killing you, or them diving you and not killing you, or whatever.
Right.
But aside from that, just like 1 point in it is great. And like imagine all of the utility you could have had if you had 1 point in it so far. And then with Voodoo Restoration, and if you have a wand, you're super fucking hard to kill. Because that's every time they cast a spell, you're, how does the math work on it? If we exclude the activation cost, every time they cast a spell, it basically heals you for 45 and your team for 30 if you're within range for them, in range of them. Because every mana turns into 2 health. So they cast a spell, you get 15 health from the charge itself, and then you get 15 mana, which converts to 30 health in an AoE. So if you have a full wand charge and they go on you, and you're running this the whole time from, like if you have your wand right now, you have like 800 health, or you have the branch, so you have like 760 health if you pop on your heal at the start of it, and then you end up with a full stick charge, or wand charge, 17, and then they dive you. It's going to take them a good like 10 seconds with you running through the tower and all of this, and like through trees and shit, while you're healing up 16 a second, and it's like, it's so fucking hard to kill a witch doctor like that. And then also like you can save your teammates with it. So yeah, I'd definitely say try to get a point in Voodoo Restoration before like level 5.
Okay.
Like I think 111 even is pretty good. Yeah. Do you have any questions so far?
No, I guess it's just basically like I can see those little things adding up.
Yeah.
But in terms of just like how to win games as a like a position 5, I'm finding it very difficult. I mean, this Tidehunter actually went Blink Dagger first item even before boots, and
Nice.
and then he went Refresher Orb after that, and so I had a I kind of didn't realize until much later that he didn't have boots, and and I was like, you don't have enough mana to cast Ravage twice. I don't see
Lol.
the so
Feels bad. But yeah, I think if you switched your build up, possibly when Urn first, if this guy doesn't have it, Urn would be really good because it stops both of these guys' Blink Daggers.
okay.
Like if you have vision of them and you see that they're trying to do some shit, like if you have vision of the Sand King and he pops his ult, you can just
Yeah.
Urn him while his ult is channeling, and then he'll just like let's say you have like a ward. You're trying to push high ground here. You have a ward right here. He channels like epicenter right here. You just run here, throw a fucking Urn on him, and then he's just like ulting like right here when your
Right.
team's like right here, and you have a 900 gold item that canceled like the whole impact of this fucking hero, and then you have 100% more regeneration, because of how mana regen works now. From the 1 mana regen, you have the armor, you have the stats, you have the heal, which means that you have another way. Like if you're low mana, but you, like right now, you don't really want to use your mana to heal up this tide, but if you had an Urn charge, that would be amazing. So it gives you like more versatility with healing too. And then if you throw an Urn on somebody and you maledict them, that's a good bit of extra damage. And like right here, you see, you get your Voodoo Restoration, and it's like starting to do work already. Like, I don't think it saved anyone, but it's also 15 minutes in the game instead of 3 minutes in the game.
Right.
I would be picking up a Dust because both of these heroes you need it against. It's good that you're grouping with your team. Except for you don't want to be grouping that close.
Yeah.
If you had this maxed out, you'd be able to throw it out a lot more in team fights instead of this. And another problem with the Maledict is it's so short range that it's like, if you're in the position to Maledict an enemy, they're usually in a position where they're
close,
gonna... Yeah, you're either too close and it's gonna end up killing you, or they're too close to you and they're dead anyways because they're out of position. So Aether Lens is pretty good on this guy. Just to get your Maledict off a lot safer. And your bounces and everything. And then now you're going a build where, also, if you turned on your heal here, you would have won this. If you, like, wand and... Oh, are you called the whole time?
Yeah, I'm called the whole time.
Oh, no,
I get the wand.
If you
yeah, then I would start, yeah.
If you did it, yeah, you would have lived there. But now you're at a point where you have this maxed out, and it's going to be 20 minutes in the game before you have the full stun. And your stun is more important than your Maledict. Like, you don't pick Witch Doctor because you want more damage. You pick him because he's a strong harasser with a multiple stun and a pretty decent heal. And he's, like, never, like, horrible. But if you don't have this, then you're missing out on the stun part of it. Like, right there, it wouldn't have mattered if you had level 2 or level 4, but it also wouldn't have mattered if you had Maledict maxed or not. So yeah, I'd try a build like 4-1-1.
Okay.
That should help you a lot. Trying to get that healing by level 4. Like right here, does this guy have... Yeah, if you have Urn here... Oh, you didn't have the... Your camera positioning's not good here. Oh, is it? What the fuck? Okay. I think I was looking at somebody else's camera positioning. But yeah, if you see this guy charging his ult and you had an Urn here, just throw it on him right now and he's kind of fucked. And then if you had your max stun here, you'd get hella bounces on everyone here because there's only one creep.
Right.
And then you can use your... I don't think your heal breaks when you're ulting.
No, if I keep it, yeah.
So do you have any final questions or anything?
No. That all makes sense, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, in this one, I guess what was the issue with this game? Yeah,
I think
just
the big issue for you as a position 5 is your early game lane impact, which is like you're not looking for any opportunities really. You're just kind of like sitting behind your carry. And part of the reason that you have to do that is because you don't have your heal, so you're not as strong as you should be. And in both of these games, it's been kind of like, if you have your heal, you're a lot harder to kill. But if you don't have your heal, you're definitely killable between the stun and then the call, and then before it was a Lina stun and a Kunkka torrent, which they both have setup for setup. So you can be stunned for 5 seconds on each of those. But if you're stunned for 5 seconds and you're getting healed for 16 health per second, that's not nearly as big of a deal as if you're getting stunned for 5 seconds when you have no heal at all. So it's kind of like, because of your build, you were in a position where you couldn't really look for opportunities as well as you should be able to.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd say switch up the build. Try to look for opportunities, and the way that you do that is possibly getting a lane ward helps a lot. Also, you're in dual lanes a lot, which makes it a little bit different. But kind of like coming around here and then throwing pokes when you can, and doing shit like that will give you, if you do that, if you throw out like 100, 200 damage through some random right clicks, like once every 30 seconds for 3 minutes, 4 minutes at the start of the game, that guy's out of regen instead of having like a salve and 2 tangos. And then you do it one more time and he's done with the lane instead of being able to free farm until like 8 or 9 minutes.
Okay.
So, it's a lot of small things, but it's like I can't really properly teach it when you don't have the voodoo restoration. At least in these games, the voodoo restoration would have been really good. But yeah. So, any final questions or anything before we wrap it up?
No, that all makes sense. I'll try out the new build. I used to max stun more, and then someone else suggested Maledict because, and I was watching some of the, at least this the Bucharest major and things like that. Whenever Witch Doctor was played, and it tends to be, they Maledict tended to be maxed out in the beginning, but I don't know if that's just because there's more like just I don't know how much Witch Doctor just stays in lane in those games. It seems like the pro players have a better job of like having their supports rotate around a lot more.
Yeah, it's what probably me just predicting it is usually what happens in a pro game is it's a single offlaner and then you zone him out with like 2 or 3 people in the early game for the first like minute or so, and then you can do it with just the position 5, and then you can get your carry ahead enough that he can do it himself, and then you can rotate, and that has a lot to do with the draft itself, the skill of the players, the communication, and all of that.
Yeah, and I think in tri lanes, I don't know, maybe Maledict is better because you have 3 people hitting someone.
Well, it's got to do with,
and if it's a solo off lane and then the stun may not make as much sense unless you have the creep wave, I guess. But
yeah, and it could be also the heroes drafted with the Witch Doctor could be specifically so that he can go Maledict. Like, if you do something like a Kunkka and a Witch Doctor or some shit, then Maledict is amazing because you just cast, you get the X, and then you get the Maledict, and then you have him trapped for like 4 seconds, and then you follow it up with a Torrent, and that's like hella lockdown. Or if you have a Shadow Shaman and a Witch Doctor, Shadow Shaman locks them down enough, and you just use your casket to get the Shadow Shaman on top of the enemy, and then the Maledict is the damage that gets the kill. So it's Maledict can be better, but I don't think in a pub it is consistently better enough to be
I can see the stun being a lot more useful, and the heal as well.
Like this turns around. I think one of the biggest strengths Witch Doctor has is he's very good at counter ganking. If they're diving 2v1 on your mid laner or whatever, you show up with a heal and you show up with your stun, and you will win that. Whereas if you show up with just a Maledict and a stun, or a heal and a Maledict, you're usually not gonna win it as hard. This just covers a lot more options, and the options that Maledict is better are few and only slightly better. At least in my opinion. But yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
So I'll get that